Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to give everyone a few seconds as they come into the room. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Good afternoon. This is the virtual college exploration for all Virginia students, the facilitator training. So you either have signed up or you will sign up to serve as a facilitator for the Virginia VACRAO program. And we're going to spend about 25 minutes chatting with you this afternoon on what that process looks like. So thanks for joining us. This is our agenda for today. We're going to do a very brief overview of the Virginia program. We will go over the role of the facilitator. We'll talk through some of the technical details of Zoom webinars versus Zoom meetings and how to get started as a facilitator. We'll then go over the slides and the script for before, during, and after each presentation. We'll cover some troubleshooting tips just to be aware of just in case, and then we'll also show you the housekeeping slides. Throughout this session, I'm joined here by my colleague Dan Saavedra from StriveScan. Dan and I will be taking questions that are submitted via the Q&A button that you see on your screen. So we encourage you to utilize that if you've got questions to reach out to us as panelists. And we are recording this session. It will be circulated to anyone that registered for today's session, as well as for anyone signed up currently on the VACRAO facilitator list. So we will be circulating that recording very soon. So first I want to do a very brief overview of this program just to give you kind of a 10,000 foot perspective of what this Virginia program looks like if you haven't been on the website yet. The program runs from September 15th through November 2nd. The program is a combination of panel presentations and virtual college fairs, what we call 6x6s. The facilitator role is only necessary for the panel presentations. They are not necessary for the 6x6s, so we'll chat through that as well. The program has various start times, but they're always going to be on the hour, so 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, and so forth. The last session for this Virginia program starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, which concludes at 8:45. There may be concurrent sessions each hour, so there may be 2 happening at 11 a.m. and 2 at noon. We ask, as you're looking at the schedule and signing up for a facilitator slot, you can't do both at the same time. So just be aware that if there are 2 at 11 a.m., you can only sign up for one of them in your role as a facilitator. All of these sessions are 45 minutes at length, and we do an extensive training with each of the presenters, so they're aware of this time commitment of 45 minutes. So we'll say it a few times during today's session. It's really important in this kind of fine dance that we have with scheduling, but the 45 minutes is really important to keep in mind, especially with the facilitator role as well. The full schedule of programs is up right now at strivescan.com/Virginia. You can see a copy, a listing of all of the Virginia panel presentations. These are transfer panels and these are freshman panels. The 6x6 college fairs will be live very shortly on the website as well. So I mentioned panel presentations just so you have an idea of what those are. Those are 3 or more colleges presenting on a topic. The Virginia program has 63 panel presentations. The very first week and the very last week are transfer panel, and the second week and the second to last week are freshman panels. So that's kind of the structure that they chose for their program. In between then, there are 6x6 college fairs happening with 4 weeks of that. But first week, last week, transfer panels, second week, second to last week, freshman panels. These panels are diverse in topic and diverse in institutions. Some of them are about equestrian opportunities. Some of them are about public universities with a private college feel, making the most of your college visit, finding your fit, women's colleges. All of those are sample examples. We encourage you to go to strivescan.com/Virginia and check it out. Check out the full scope of the program, especially if you're promoting this to your students in your community as well. As I also alluded to, there are 6x6 college fairs that are happening weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6. There are about 110 colleges presenting in each of those specific weeks of programming. There is no need for facilitator sign up for that, but certainly start promoting it to your students as that schedule will be live very soon. So there are overall about 202 unique colleges presenting on either panels or during that 6x6 programming that's happening as well. The role of the facilitator is crucial for these panel presentations. So that's why we're here today to talk through what that facilitator role looks like. The facilitator, you in this instance, you ensure that the program runs smoothly and on time. It starts on time and it concludes 45 minutes afterwards on time as well. Your role is to greet presenters and prepare them. So you have an opportunity in the first few minutes to say hello to your old friends and also answer their questions. Can you hear me all right? Is my background looking okay? So you have that opportunity to do that, and we'll show you what that looks like in the next few slides. Another really important role of the facilitator is you are the only person capable of starting the webinar. So it's really imperative that you are on it and mindful of the time to start the webinar. And then you provide a consistent intro message to the students, and we'll give you a sample of what that looks like as well. Some of the benefits of serving as a facilitator is that it supports the VACRAO Association. It's a great way to give back. You can help provide some opportunities for students. By just serving in this role, it allows this to happen. So you're definitely giving back to students and members. And you may learn something. You're sitting in on a session behind the scenes sitting in, but you're still sitting in on a session. So you have the opportunity to learn from the session and presenters. When you are looking at the schedule, it's an open Google Sheet that you are able to fill out to volunteer. So you would need to put your name and your email address and your phone number in a slot to select it. We recommend that you may do like a grouping. So if you've got 3 hours, you can do a 2 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, and a 4 o'clock and support it in that way. If you select a spot and then you need to change or remove the spot, we do ask that you alert the VACRAO leadership right away so that they're aware that there's a vacancy. So please just be mindful. Don't just remove your name from the Google Sheet. Alert the VACRAO leadership, and we have their contact information on the last slide. These sessions that you will be facilitating are all Zoom webinars and not Zoom meetings. You right now are on a Zoom webinar and not a Zoom meeting. For security purposes in this environment, only the panelists, in this instance today, that's Dan and me, we can turn on our cameras, we can turn on our microphones, but you cannot. So in the student space that we will be doing these panels with, the panelists and the facilitator can all turn on their cameras and their microphones. They can all share screen, but the students cannot. They cannot share their video, their audio, they cannot annotate, and additionally, they cannot chat. Just like today's environment, the only way to engage with the presenters is through the Q&A, and that will remain consistent with the VACRAO programming, that students will only be submitting questions through the Q&A. We bring this up because we've done a lot of effort on the back end to ensure that Zoom bombing doesn't happen. This is a safe and secure environment, not just for the students, but for the college representatives as well. Just a brief note on logistics. Each of the presenters and you as a facilitator, you will be utilizing the StriveScan Zoom account to host these webinars, not an individual institution's Zoom account, not your high school Zoom account. You'll be using our account, and Dan will chat through some of the technical logistics of that. Each presenter, they all receive a unique link to join as a presenter. So all of the presenters receive that a week before their individual session to join the session as a panelist. The students and counselors are joining a different way. They're registering via the strivescan.com/Virginia website. They're getting a link to join as an attendee. So that's what differentiates those that can turn on their camera and video and those that cannot turn on their camera and video. And before we pass it on to the logistical side of things, I do want to cover the role of the facilitator versus the role of a panelist. The panelists have paid money for this opportunity to speak with their students. And because of that, we ask that the facilitators don't present in each session. What that means is your role is not to answer questions, not to moderate questions, and as much as you may have knowledge or an opinion on a specific topic or an institution, we ask that you refrain from answering student questions or chiming in during a presentation. The facilitator's role is truly to start things off, do an intro, and then stay behind the scenes until the end of the session. So we want to make sure that there is a kind of clear guidance between what the role of a presenter is versus what the role of a facilitator is. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Dan, who's going to chat a little bit about the technical side of things.
All right, great. Thanks, Zach. So with regards to how how this works for you as a facilitator, what we are asking you to do, oh, let me just go back one slide here. What we're asking you to do is first download the Zoom app on your computer. So if you're joining this session now live and you've already done that, what you might want to do is make sure you check for the latest version. Zoom is implementing a lot of different changes here, so be sure to check to see that you are on the latest version and that there are no updates, because if you're using an older version, some of the terminology or the buttons may look a little different from what I'm about to show you. So we will be providing you a StriveScan Zoom account to log into. These are going to be sent out every Friday for the following week's sessions. So you will get this the Friday before you are scheduled. Each session is assigned to a specific Zoom account, so you will be getting a login, an email address, and a password for the specific session that you have signed up to facilitate. If you are facilitating multiple sessions, there may be different Zoom accounts that they're on, so just be sure to check the email that you have the correct login if you don't see your session there. After you, and we do change those passwords regularly, so again, be sure to check. So once you log into that account, you will see the list of upcoming webinars. All you need to do, your job is then to click the Start button here under the assigned webinar, and that will bring you into the session. So when should you do this? We're asking you to join the session 10 minutes prior to the start time. And being on time is crucial. The reason why is if you're joining too early, there's another session going on that account, because all these sessions are running back to back. If you join too late, that will keep the presenters waiting, and then they may get concerned that they're not going to be able to get into the room. So we are asking you to join 10 minutes prior to the start time, and we've instructed all the presenters to join 8 minutes prior to the start time. And this is all really choreographed, and that timing is crucial, because here's a sample schedule. So let's say you are signed up for the 1 o'clock session. There's going to be a session that from 12 until 12:45 in progress. So your job would be to sign on at 12:50, and then your presenters will sign on in about 2 minutes later, and then you can start your session at 1 o'clock. Again, timing is crucial, so we ask that you end the session 45 minutes later, and then because the next facilitator will be signing in about 5 minutes after that, 10 minutes before the 2 o'clock session. When you first sign into the account and start the session, you're going to be in what's called a practice mode. It's unbroadcasted to the students. It's just for you and the presenters to chat. And at that point, we're going to ask you to run through what we call the panelist welcome slide to make sure we are all on the same page and answer any panelist questions. So in those first couple of minutes, right when you first sign in and you start that webinar, we're also going to ask you to make one quick adjustment, and that is to turn off the raise hand option. The raise hand option is just not really necessary here, and it doesn't do very much for the students. It's just another button. So it's a minor detail. Just go into the participants menu, click on the more button, and turn off the raise hand option. Next thing you will want to do is open up your slides, your facilitator slides. And here is the website to go to, strivefair.com/VACRAO-slides, strivefair.com/VACRAO-slides. And that's going to pull up the exact same slides that I'm showing you here right now. At the very start of it, we've got a couple of of the 3 slides that you'll need, as well as all of these training slides down below in case you have any questions or can't remember something. We've also put an entire script right into the speaker notes, so everything is there for you, everything that you'll need to say. When the panelists join on during this practice session, you can introduce yourself, let them know you're a VACRAO member and maybe what school you work for, and then you can go through the panelist welcome slide. That's what this looks like right here. I'm going to invite Zach back on to talk you through and just do a quick example of what running through the panelist welcome slide looks like.
Hey panelists, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Zach, I'm your VACRAO facilitator for this session. A few housekeeping items while we've got this space unbroadcasted before students join. Just as a reminder, this session is 45 minutes, so we'll start right on the hour, and then I'll let you speak for your 45-minute session, and then at 45 minutes after the hour, I'll help us conclude with some outro slides as well. We are recording this session, and that will also live on the VACRAO website, so just be on the lookout for that. A reminder, if you're not speaking, we ask that you do mute yourself to avoid some distraction with background noises. You can see your mute and unmute button there, so utilize that. Who's driving with screen share today? Oh, you are? Okay, awesome. If you want to take over screen share from me real quick, we just want to make sure everything looks pretty. So press that share screen button. Excellent, looks good. Are you playing a video during today's session? Oh, you are? Okay, make sure you press that share computer sound button. If you're not playing a video, you don't need to press that share computer sound button, but it's just one step to be mindful of if you are playing a video in your session. Reminder that StriveScan is going to send you all of the student information and also a transcript of all the questions submitted. You may not get to every question during this session, so you will get a transcript of the questions within a week of this session. And the team at StriveScan can be reached at help@strivescan.com. I'm going to chat for just a few seconds on Q&A because now that you're in here, you can see what the Q&A button looks like on your toolbar. When questions come in, you have the option to dismiss questions. There's the button that says answer live, and then there's the type answer button. Dismissing is just getting it out of the way, so feel free to just press that X button if you want to dismiss questions. Sometimes students just want to say hi or thank you. We ask that you don't press the answer live button because when you do, it then displays all of the students' name and their question to the entire audience. That's going to be distracting. And it also may display some sensitive student information. So just please don't press the answer live button. You're welcome to type answers and you can send them privately and you'll check the box and that way you can type the answer to the student individually. Again, you may not get to every question, so StriveScan will reach out with a transcript of all those questions that are submitted. Any questions as panelists?
Great.
All right.
Thank you, Zach. So, after you've gone through the panelist welcome slide, walked through any questions, and explained what the next 45 minutes is going to look like, at the top of the hour, it's time to start the session. So you will see this message across your screen on Zoom. All you need to do is click the Start Webinar button. Once you've clicked that, that is going to start allowing all the students into the room, and then you are live and broadcasting. Once you've clicked this, you cannot go back, so just be aware of that. So this should be clicked only at the top of the hour when you're ready to begin the webinar. Also, what will happen is the recording will begin right away, so you don't have to worry anything about that. That recording is going to begin and end automatically. And then after you've clicked this, we have got the next slide. It's going to show you, it's going to be your introductory announcements. So as soon as you start broadcasting, you can immediately begin your announcements. That also gives you, while you're making those announcements, gives you about 60 seconds to allow all of the students to start filing into the room as Zoom allows them into the session. So very quickly, a couple of announcements that you're going to make are let the students know about the Q&A button. That's how they can ask questions. Let them know that their camera and microphone are off, and encourage them to sign up for other sessions, and also that the recording will be available. Again, these are all in the speaker notes. That the entire script is in the speaker notes. We're going to play for you a very quick video. Here's an example from our our partnership with the Wisconsin ACAC, the WACAC sessions. This is Rachel from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, who just did a great introduction. We're going to play that for you as a great example.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration webinar for all Wisconsin students. Just as a reminder and some housekeeping items as we are all joining this session, you will have the opportunity to sign up for more sessions if you are interested through wacac.com. This recording is also going to be available after today and after the sessions that we have running from now through next week. So if you would like to explore any of the other sessions that you may have missed, we are going to be posting any of these all of these recordings to the WACAC website. Your camera and microphone for today's session are going to be turned off, but you do have the Q&A available for you so that you can ask questions for our panelists today. So make sure that you are using that Q&A button to ask any questions and to type out your questions for the presenters. At this time, I will let our panelists take it away and start our webinar this afternoon.
Great. So that was an excellent example of a very short introduction that does the job. So next couple of items to know is we want to make sure that you stay on time. As you saw in the schedule, all of these programs are running back to back, so there must be a hard stop at the 45-minute mark in order for the next session to begin. That next facilitator is going to be logging in 5 minutes later, so we want to make sure that they're able to get in and run a successful session for the next group. So at that 45-minute mark, please gently but firmly remind your presenters of that time limit. If at any point that your presenters don't naturally end at that 45-minute point, a great way of cueing that is to simply share our final thank you slide. You can start sharing even if another presenter is still talking and speaking. This will just override anything that they're currently sharing. So that's usually enough, just a subtle nonverbal reminder and cue to let them know that their time is up. So all you'll need to do is share that thank you slide, make a couple of closing announcements, and then hit the end button in order to end the webinar and disconnect all the students and the presenters. Finally, you'll sign out of the Zoom account. So that final thank you slide looks like this, and I'll invite Zach back again just to do a quick demo of what that outro looks like.
Well, thank you so much to our presenters for sharing this information, and students and counselors, thank you for taking the time to tune in. As you close this window, a very quick 4-question survey will appear, and we do ask for your feedback. We encourage you to sign up for additional programs for students from Virginia, and that schedule can be found at strivescan.com/Virginia. A copy of this recording and all of the Virginia programs will be made available very soon at strivescan.com/Virginia as well. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, Zach. So that was a great example. And that wraps up your entire session. Just sign out of the account and you are complete. So what we wanted to cover now is just a couple troubleshooting examples and what to do if you run into a couple of these issues. First thing is, if you sign into that session and you get this message and you go to click on your session to start it, you'll get this message. There's another meeting in progress. Please end it to start a new meeting. If you reach that message, that means the preceding webinar is still in progress. That preceding session is still in progress. We are asking that you do not end that other meeting. So don't click that button yet. Just cancel it. Give them a couple of minutes to finish up just in the event that that session is running late. So what we ask you to do is just hold tight, wait 2 more minutes, and then try again. Try starting this back up again. If you still get this message, then it's okay to end the other meeting. And this is again why staying on time and keeping everyone to 45 minutes is especially crucial, because we don't want that to happen, but this is the option. So again, if you are still unable to join and start that meeting 8 minutes prior, then it's okay to end the preceding meeting. If you have a presenter whose audio is not working, we recommend that you just encourage them to check their Zoom settings under the audio option. Sometimes you can select a different microphone, your internal microphone, or if they're wearing a headset or headphones. You can also often resolve a lot of these issues simply by quitting the Zoom app and restarting. If you have a presenter whose virtual background is not working or it looks distorted, that's pretty common. Those virtual backgrounds require a new-ish computer. So if you run into that problem, it may not function. Another situation we want you to be aware of, now we think this is going to be highly unlikely to happen, but we want you to be prepared in the event it does. And that is if you have a disruptive attendee. We've done, as Zach mentioned, we've done a lot of things to lock down our security settings so attendees have limited ways to disrupt the presentation or Zoom bomb. But that being said, there is the possibility that you could have a student or an attendee simply just typing things in the Q&A that may be inappropriate. Now, we did this program in the spring with 175,000 students, and we only had this happen one time. It was pretty, so the likelihood of that happening is very low. We also do not allow anonymous questions to be asked, so it will have the student's registered name in there as well. But we want you to be prepared just in the event that this does happen. So first things first, if you see an inappropriate question, you can click the dismiss button, and that will simply hide that question. And as long as the panelists have not typed an answer to it publicly or clicked the answer live button, then no other students in the attendance will have seen that question. Only the panelists and you, the facilitator, will have seen that message. So you can dismiss it, hide it, and none of the other students will see it. If the event that continues to happen, you can then also remove the attendee. So if you click on the participants button, you'll see both the list of panelists as well as the attendees. You can find that person's name in the list, hover over the move more button, and then just remove them. That will remove that person from the session. And that will just disconnect them. If this does happen and you do have any inappropriate questions or a student needs to be removed, please let us know at help@strivescan.com immediately, just so we can be aware of that situation. In the event that you have a presenter not arrive, now again, this is highly unlikely. The presenters have signed up for this. They are also sent reminder emails a day before the session and 1 hour before the start time. But occasionally, conflicts or emergencies do arise. So if no presenters show up, stay in that practice session. Stay in that before. Don't hit that start broadcast or start webinar button yet. Hopefully, they're just running a couple minutes behind. What we're asking our protocol will be, if after 10 minutes after the start time, that presenter still has not shown up, there are no presenters, we ask you to start the webinar and simply make a short announcement to the audience, letting them know that unfortunately the presenters are unavailable and that the session has been canceled. We apologize for the inconvenience. And then you can end that webinar. Again, please let us know at help@strivescan.com and the VACRAO leadership that this has occurred, and then we will be sure to follow up with that presenter. So again, hopefully that will be unlikely, but we want to at least let you know on the protocol should that occur. And with that, that wraps up our facilitator training. On the screen here is our email, help@strivescan.com, which you can always reach us. And then VACRAO's president, Sarah Lindberg, that's her Mary Washington email. If you have any questions or need to follow up with us, or if you need to change that facilitator schedule, you can always reach Sarah there. So at this point, we would love to open it up to any questions that you may have. Feel free to, again, to type it right into the Q&A button, and we'll be happy to answer those for you.
And we had a question come in about the script. So if you want to perhaps show how they can access both these slides and then also the script for each of the 3 main slides.
Yes, great question. So the slides themselves can be reached by going to strivefair.com/VACRAO-slides, and that will pull up this exact same training that we just ran with.
The A in VACRAO.
Oh, there we go. So that will pull up these slides here. So the very first 3 slides are the slides that you will be using in order to present here. And let me just do that real quick. Yes, and we will email them. Thank you for that question. So this will all come in an email to you with your Zoom account login and password as well for the session. So this is the first one, the welcome panelists slide. So this is the checklist that you'll run through with the presenters prior to the session beginning. And down here below in the speaker notes is the entire script. So a reminder to turn the raise hand off and then running through that checklist here down below. Then the next slide is after you start the webinar, start the broadcast, these are your housekeeping announcements to the students and families. And then the third slide here is the closing slide ending. That's all you'll need.
Excellent. Any other questions out there? All right, not seeing any. Well, thank you all so much for spending your afternoon for a short time with us and learning about the facilitator role. If you are facilitating for the transfer panels, you'll receive some information from us later today because those panels happen next week. If you're not yet doing them until the freshman stuff, you'll receive that next Friday for the freshman panels. So thank you all for spending your time, and we'll be in touch very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.